So out here rigging up some gator baits. We've got our 7 Cornish game hens. What I'll do is I'll rig up 4, and then I'll rig up another 4 and just throw them in the freezer, and I usually go out with 4 each night. What it consists of is 200-pound test, a crimp on one side with a 1-inch dowel cut by 2 inches. It rigs straight through, and then you crimp it on that side. Here's the Cornish game hens that we're using, some Tysons. It's actually like the perfect size, because that way, you know, any gator's gonna be able to get that in his mouth, even the smaller ones, even though we're not going for those. And then what we'll do is wrap one of these float noodles around it, and then this goes in the back side of the chicken, and this comes out the neck, and that way the chicken will actually float, because without doing this, your chicken's not going to float. Now, there's other ways to do it. You can use beef lung, you can use a lot of other different techniques, but we found that these work the best, especially with the noodle that floats. And then what you'll do is after you're 6 foot, which I've found is pretty decent size, you connect the other end with the other swivel to a float, and I have 20 foot on that float as well. So that way when the chicken swallows it, they'll be able to take off and they'll be able to run, and then you'll be able to, at least that they can't see the line, and this in their mouth is a little bit less than the Dacron that we have on the other side of the line. All right, so we're trying to rig up some gator baits for this weekend. We've got 7 Cornish game hens. We found that these kind of work the best, just due to the fact that they're decent size. They're not too big in order for the gators not to eat them. So we have all of our baits rigged up. What we use is a 1-inch wooden dowel, cut it by 2 inches, drill a hole in the center, and then what we'll do is we'll run the leader line through it. As you can see, I'm using the crimp. This is 200-pound test. We throw a crimp on there. On one side, this will connect to the buoy that keeps track of the gator, and then size 2.2, the double sleeves. And then what I do is I rig out 6 feet, and then once you get to the end, we'll take that 6 foot. After we've got a crimp on one side, we'll run it through the wooden dowel, and we'll come out the other side, loop it back around on itself, and we'll crimp that. And then what we'll do is we'll wrap it with a fun noodle. And what this does is this goes in the back of the chicken. I'll show a video of that later. But what that does is this keeps the chicken floating, so that way when the gator sees it and smells it, he'll know where to find it. All right, so we got the chickens out of the bag. There's a lot of blood in here. What we want to do is you usually want to save that blood, because it'll help it rot a little bit better. I'm going to make up 8 baits. 4 are going to sit in the freezer, and we're going to use 4 this weekend. So after you get it out, you've got your noodle right here. You're going to take your wooden dowel and you're going to stick it inside of this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this up the back side of the chicken. Feel around from the top side. You're going to pull it tight. And then once I know that it's about to go in there, I'm going to make another loop, and this is what's going to secure this wooden dowel to this next piece. Of course, it's got all hung up on here, but I'm going to loop it through one more time, right? And then we're going to start pulling tight. I'm going to pull this all tight, and now what I want is I want this noodle to go inside the chicken and then wrap around that extra loop that I just made. So I'm going to start pulling tight. You can see this loop starting to shrink down. We're going to shove this piece into the back side of the chicken. There is not much room here. And then we're going to start tightening this down. And you can see it just kind of makes a loop here. So then what we're going to do is, there's the loop right there. Start to cinch it down, and what that does is when the chicken rots, it won't go away. I'm just going to make a little bit of a cut inside the noodle right here, so that way this line has somewhere to rest instead of just kind of riding around the top of it. I'll push the dowel in a little bit and then get these lines to sit right down in there. Tighten it up so it makes it cinch in there, and that's your bait. 10 foot, maybe a little bit bigger. Came off the bank on the other side, started coming across the other bank toward this direction. Got a good cast on him, went right over his head. I think I had probably hooked in the side or in the back leg. We've been fighting through these lily pads for about the last 30 minutes. We got him down to this area right here. Tweed's just trying to clear all the weeds so we're able to get a better shot on him. Hopefully get another harpoon at him. But if he shows his head, I'll probably end up bang sticking him as soon as he raises his head out of the water. I'm gonna try and let Lindsay bang stick him. That's my goal.
I wish you would go out that way.
Jerk back and forth right there. There you go. Yeah, if we give him the lily pads, we're good. It's just this thick shit right here. I mean, listen, he's smart. You know right where to go. You want to try and get a harpoon in him, or you think the big giant thing?
I think he's just gonna
give up?
come up.
There he is. There he is. That's the back of him.
Get his back leg. So we got him to surface here. You see, it looked like I hooked him in his back leg. Just waiting for his head to come up to see how big he is before we harvest him.
There he goes. There he is.
Yeah, he's smacking that. I didn't see how big he was.
I saw his nose. It's a nice snout. I would guess he's probably 9-10 foot.
Let's go.
All right.
Sweet. All right, there's his head right there.
There he is.
That is, it's about 10 foot. He just came up. You want him, Lindsay? All right, so we got him down to this area right here. He looks like he's about 10 foot, maybe a little bit bigger, so we're gonna probably go ahead and get a second hook in him. Usually what I'll do is I'll make sure that I can see their eye before I put this one in them, because obviously it's pretty big and you don't want to lose it. So I'm gonna try and have Tweed here raise the pole up a little bit just so I can get a better view on him, cast on the other side, and then we're gonna try and get a big hook in him. And this has got just a chlorine jug on the other side. I'm gonna try and get closer to the front of him so that way when we pick him up, we can get his head picked up. So you see his head's right there where the bubbles are coming up. All right, let's see his tail over here. Try and get him out here in the open. Yep, try to get up. All right, there's his tail right there. I don't quite see his head yet or where his in front of him is, so I just gonna get up right there. There we go. That's a good one, man. But I got this one in him, he ain't going nowhere, so
He's got a beautiful.
Too feisty, but he ain't going nowhere with this one in him. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take this. We're gonna harvest this one. These are Lindsay's tags. So Lindsay's gonna go ahead and bang stick them. What you want to do is always try and get him behind the head. Go ahead and pull the pin on that. So you see his snout right here. You want to get him right behind the head. Hang on. Let me give you a better view of him. Yeah, you're good to go. All you gotta do is listen. Give me a second so I can clear out his head so you can see what he's doing. Alright. Right there behind his eyes. Yep. Hit it hard. Hit it hard. Go. Nice. Good job, man. That's how we do it. Nice gator. Still filming? So what you want to do at this point is, since we got so limited people in the boat, I'll just run you down. We're going to get his head a little bit closer. I've got another zip line that will zip around his head back there. And then we're going to close his jaws and then tape it up. What you got to do is after you get him bang stick and you got him nice and taped up, you got to sever the spinal cord. Just kind of dulls their... You just want to kind of make sure that there's no connection there, so that way he's not going to come back alive when he's on the boat. All right, Tweety, ready? That's it. Got a cast on him from the bank. We're out here 8 o'clock in the morning. Got a good cast on him on the back. Looks like we hooked him right here behind this back leg. Chased him all through these weeds. Finally got him all cleared out. He showed his head. He's probably gonna be about... So a little update here after we got him back to the house and on tape. He was 9 foot 11 inches. Then we got that second barb, hook in him. And we were able to pull him to the surface and got him taken care of. That's about it. Happy hunting.